What's up, guys? I'm back today with another Pocket GM3 video on the channel, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm hopping over here on the Reddit, and the developer actually just made a post of some new things he wanted to add to the game, specifically kind of like the news and information section, and I'm going to go over this and kind of just give my thoughts on this and what I think should be included in this section of the game. I think this may be something I start doing going forward, maybe if the developer hops out and has a request or is asking for new features or some things that he's interested in adding and wants some feedback from the community. Maybe potentially here in the future I will continue to go in and maybe make a video and give my thoughts on the game and what I think would be great to be added to the game. So let's talk about here, let's read this, and then let's talk about a couple of my suggestions, and obviously we'll check out some of other people's suggestions as well in the comment section down below, and then we'll go from there. So as part of the latest development, I'm looking to reintroduce and reinvigorate the social feed within the game. This will be the source of news, source for news from around the league and colleges, injuries, retirements, achievements, etc. 3 things for you all. What ideas would you like to be included in this for added immersion? This shouldn't be constrained to current features such as mock drafts and etc. Number 2, who are your favorite indie football journalists to be featured? He wants to potentially feature some other people in here. Really cool idea. He's also looking for fan comments to be made. I think he's going to be grabbing those from a couple of comments from Twitter, a couple people from Twitter. So if you're interested, go check that out. So again, not at the bottom, not been too big on social so far, but keen to push the marketing news a bit more. So should we worth a follow? So you guys can check out some of people's comments down below. Players retiring early, injuries, some of that kind of stuff, more immersion. But one thing I did want to note on the bottom here is someone who said a page with league updates, injuries, trades, upsets, and anything that makes the league feel alive around you. And I think that's one of the biggest things, and that's one of the biggest things in general that kind of Madden struggles from as well, where it just feels like you're going through the complete motion of just building a team, playing the games, going through the postseason, and doing the same thing over again. It doesn't feel like a lively league. It doesn't feel like you're getting updates from the league. And that's kind of how this game feels at times. You're kind of creating your own storylines with certain players in your own head and based on your own, save and everything like that. Just creating storylines, depending on where players were drafted or, if they ended up getting, traded to a different team or if they, any free agent signings or anything like that. You're kind of just making your own storylines yourself and how you perceive the league to kind of go. And I would love to see some more life around the league, some updates on what's going around. If you're playing a team in the playoffs, or if you're even playing a team in the next week of the season and you go in, you're not going to know if that team has any injuries or how that team's really doing offensively or how some of their players are doing, just depending on if you don't click on it. If you don't click on that team, you're not going to know if that team's star quarterback's injured or if their star, cornerback's injured or anything like that. So I would love to see kind of a section just introducing more livelihood to the game and more livelihood to kind of each season. Sometimes it feels like you're really just building up in the off season. You're going through the draft, going through free agency and picking up some players and then going through the procedure of the season. You're only knowing what's really going on in your team, and then maybe you're following a couple players here and there, that you're interested in or that may have been on your team or anything like that, to just kind of see how their careers are going, how their seasons are going, or if, that top team is struggling, you're kind of just following to see how that team's doing as well, or players in your division and stuff like that. So personally, I would love to see a mock draft, which I think would definitely change kind of how the drafting goes and where teams end up drafting some players. I would definitely love to see a mock draft where we could kind of check maybe the top 32 players for the entire first round, kind of what the projections are, like a league-wide consensus on who's the number 1 player, who's the top 10 guaranteed player, and kind of that stuff. It would kind of give a little bit more depth to the game and added with the college kind of thing. The other thing I know, which a lot of people have suggestions, is college injuries and being able to tell players and draft prospects coming out of the draft and being able to tell if they're going to be a high injury-prone player. I'd love to see that kind of like an inkling or a little, blurb from your scouts or something like that to kind of give, maybe this top player coming out of the draft who's projected to be a top 5 player, maybe they're really highly injury-prone. So maybe they might drop down their draft stock or something like that. So I'd love to see that kind of thing. The other thing is just kind of updates. That's what's happening around the league. I think is the biggest thing to kind of add some more life to the league and life to each season, to where it just doesn't feel like you're going through the motions season after season. So I'd love to see some updates. Maybe, that quarterback or that running back just hit a really high milestone in passing yards or touchdowns for their career. So maybe someone hits the 50,000 passing yards mark, or, maybe someone broke a new record. I'd love to see some stats like that, whether it be individual season records, career records, and even in a single game records as well. I'd love to see some stats like that. Just kind of get a gist. If you were scrolling through, you didn't check out a week, and you saw, hey, this quarterback just threw for 8 touchdowns in a game, that'd be really interesting to see. And then you'd be able to go back and check and see how the rest of their season ended up going from there. The another thing, injuries. I'd love to see injuries being kind of noted. If there's a top star player who got injured, like a star quarterback or a wide receiver or just anything like that, I'd love to see some star players. Maybe there's a threshold for, if this player is above an 85 overall, then we're going to hear about it in the news tab. So I'd love to see that kind of added to the game. I think that would be a big inclusion. Obviously, retirements would be a big thing that would be included as well. You want to see if that top star player retired, and then you'd be able to kind of check out their career and see how it ended up going. So anything like that, just things to be added to the game to give livelihood to each season, to where you're not feeling like you're going through the motion season after season. And I think something like this will give a little bit more livelihood to the game. Obviously, big trades. Another thing, big trades would be another thing I'd love to see, kind of in that little news section. Any big players that ended up getting traded in the offseason or even during the season, I would love to see that and see kind of where these top players are moving, who's getting traded, and things like that. I think other than it being put into the trade section to where you can kind of see league trades, maybe specifically highlight some of the top players that ended up getting traded during the season. Just anything like that, more information, more livelihood to the league, so kind of what's going around in the league and what's happening, everything like that. Maybe you're going to see a top 5 or top 3 in voting results for the MVP or Rookie of the Year. Maybe journalists or whatever in the news tabs will give you kind of an update on we're in week 10. Here's the updated projected MVP results or Rookie of the Year results, those kind of things. I think that would be really cool as well, just to follow the careers of some of these players, how they're developing and how they're moving through the season. So anything like that just adds more livelihood to the game, and I think would improve the game even more than it already is. Like I said multiple times in other videos, if nothing else gets added to this game forever, the game is still amazing. The game's still a ton of fun, and it's a blast to play. So anything that makes this game better, more updates, anything like that, I am 100% for. So without further ado, I'm going to end this one off. Just a quick little video kind of talking about my thoughts on the news section and some interesting things that would maybe liven up the game a little bit and give a little bit more information to the player about what's happening in the league. So without further ado, I'm going to end this one off. Over the next few weeks, I do want to say that I will have a couple more videos on Pocket GM, kind of going over my thoughts of what I think should be changed. I'm probably going to come out with a wish list video here in the next few weeks, so definitely be on the look for that, for some more information or some more updates I would love to see in the game. But without further ado, I'm going to end this one off. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video.